They're all fairly short. And I don't know if I've got, remember I said I've been emailing this woman, Stanzin Changchu, and she said, when you come to Ladakh, you have to meet my mother. So I met her, and she's like, okay, you ready to meet my mother now? And so after a week or so, I went to Hunderdok and met her mother. Getting to Hunderdok was a challenge. Oh, by the way, I have video of the nuns' cave. It was higher and more isolated than the ones that you saw at the meditation center, but still inside of civilization, so you could still see electric lights at night from where that cave was. So Hunderdok is 12 miles from the nearest village. No, I'm sorry, 12 kilometers from the nearest village. 6 of those you can ride in a vehicle, and then the other 6 you have to walk. Part of that walk is a path that's wide, and part of that walk is a path that is so narrow that you literally have to walk 1 foot in front of the other. And it's above this raging river, and it's where I faced a life challenge of not being able to move forward, not being able to move backward, and not being able to stay where I am. And when I was 16 years old, I was leading demonstrations and took a really bad police beating. So I was paralyzed from my neck down for about 3 days. And when my movement came back, my balance didn't. So I have fairly severe vertigo when I'm seeing 2 different elevations at the same time. My mind cannot figure out where I am, so I lose my balance. So at one point in time, so I'll show you what the wide part of the path looks like. This is me. This is me trying to breathe. And this is Stanzin playing with the camera. And that's about my speed. She could have gotten to her village inside of 2 hours. It took us over 4. And this is the river. Now, this is the wide path. This is the path that the only problem I had was going up. And you can see that there's just up and up and up. At one point in time, now I couldn't, by this time I had acclimated to level ground. So and I could go down, but going up, even a slight incline like this, I'm still huffing and puffing. So I asked Stanzin before we started walking, I said, how much up and how much down? And she said, she thought about it, she said, half up and half down. And so I said, okay. So we were walking for over 2 hours, and it's just up. So during one of my puffing and blowing breaks, I said, I thought you said it's half up, half down. Where's the down? And she said, well, the down is 3 days from now when you go back. And I'm laughing about that now. I was not laughing about that then. And she looks me in the eye and she just says, if I told you the truth, you wouldn't come. And I am so glad. I mean, I got, like I said, my life lessons were catalyzed by Stanzin. So I really am happy that I went, but I wasn't happy that I got lied to. Oh shoot, I may have to do this backwards. Let's see. Da-da-da-da. Okay, so that's the narrow trail. Now you see where the trail is?
Oh wow,
That's
dangerous.
Oh no, that's I felt confident at that point, to the point that I could let go of the side of the cliff and take the picture. Okay, there were other parts that were much more narrow than that. I mean, yeah. This was still wide to me.
Is that Stanton?
Um,
Further up.
oh yes. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. Yeah, so that's her, and we're not that high above the river either, right here. And yeah, so that's that. Okay, so um, I want to show you a video, but I want to show it's really fast. I want to show you what you're looking at. So Stanza would just zoom ahead and just sit there and play games on her iPhone while I caught up. Okay, so you'll see Stanzen sitting on the trail. Then the next thing you'll see is, again, this is still Stanzen, and this is the trail here. So that is a step. Okay, now that's actually fairly wide because I could actually put both feet on it. But as you go up here, you're literally walking 1 foot in front of the other, and this is the drop. And that's looking straight down. Okay, so I'm going to show you this very quickly here. So that's the path, and that's straight down. And again, I'm feeling it gets narrower than that. In that, in the narrow parts, I would not let go. I would not take a picture of it. You know, actually, now that I think, I should have given her the camera. She'd be leaning over the side taking the pictures. When we were walking to 200 Oak, and I was having a lot of trouble, she kept offering to take my pack. She's 7 months pregnant, and I'm like, I'm not having a pregnant woman carry my pack, and so I'm being, sufficiently macho here. And I couldn't even make the last 1,000 feet, and it's almost straight up. And I just said, here, take the pack. So I carried almost all of my pack up there. Okay, so we get to 100 Oak. So this is her mother's compound. That's actually the house right there.
Okay, I don't see a house.
Yeah, you're right, you don't see a house. And so, and this peak way in the back there is China. Mm-hmm. So it's in that compound there, and the ceilings are so low, I had to walk like this throughout the entire house. And I could say more, but I'm not. I'm way behind. Okay. So this is Searing Dolma. This is her mother in the field. Her mother is the same age as I am, and looks older and acts so much younger. I mean, this is a hard woman who is living this amazingly balanced life. In 3 months, this is her barley crop, and in 3 months she has to raise everything that they eat for the next 9 months. Everything she eats, everything her animals eat, everything her son eats, and she feeds each and every tourist that walks through there. If you walk through there, she gives you water, she gives you tea, she gives you food, and she asks for nothing. Some people give her money in return, and she takes it, and some people don't. But I just thought, I mean, it's a simple and balanced life. She has 7 children, and all 7 of them said that they would pool their money and get her an apartment in the city. And she just said flat out, "I'm going to die right here." You know, it's an amazing life.
Is that a house?
No, that was the outhouse that you saw. Yes. Oh, hang on. Let's see if I can pause. I don't know where pause would be on here. Let me get you in a second. So this is more of a showing the extent of the fields, and back behind those bushes is her house, and this amazing panorama of the Himalayas. Okay, just
How does she get water?
oh, she's got water coming straight off the mountain. That's the outhouse. Okay, and yeah, I drank for 3 days unfiltered mountain water, which tastes real good. Yes.
I was just going to say, I was just noticing the contrast as you're saying this house is balanced and further in balance.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It took a while to get me there, and my experience of balance. Oh, halfway through the walk, we came across these road workers who were busy building a bridge to get from one section of the wide path to another section of the wide path. And the workers said to Stanzin, "Tell your mother that we'd like to drink some chai." And when Stanzin told me, I was like, "Yeah, no one's going to walk, 2 hours to give these folks chai." Her mother did. She just kind of filled up the thermos, put it on her back, and choo, choo, choo. So I was saying to her mother, through Stanzin translating for me, I said, you're the first house that people come to if they're trekking up Hunderdok. You could charge people. I said, and you could give them, like the meals that I was eating. I said, you charge $3 or $4 for a meal. You could charge them for water, okay? You could definitely charge them for tea. You could charge them for putting them up overnight. And she's, kind of listening. And after she finishes translating, she says, yes, I could do that, but how would I accumulate merit? That's accumulating money. It's not accumulating merit. It's not accumulating compassion. It's I had to take my type A hat off, and I had 3 days. I would just, sit in the field, sit in the sun, and every once in a while she'd walk by and, "You want some tea? You want something to eat?" She was very concerned about me because in the morning we would eat these, I don't remember the name of them, but these barley cakes that were about the size and shape and density of a hockey puck. And you dip it in yogurt and you eat these things. Well, I could barely get through one. And she was very, you should have seen her face. She was just very concerned that I wasn't eating enough. And I'm like, I can barely stuff one of these things down. And Stanley says her mother eats 4 every morning, and she's literally this big, Okay. Anybody need a break? Are we okay? And if you do need a break, will you just take one? So again, this. It's hard to see it. Because I was in it, I know how to look at it. But that's her house.
So it snows in the winter?
Oh, it's covered with snow right now. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that her family has lived in this house for generations.
I asked her that, and her assumption was, 15 generations or so, but she has no idea. They have no idea.
Yeah, and the other question I have, I understand you talked about being a disputed area.
Right.
But can you imagine trying to march soldiers through there,
Yep.
dying of altitude sickness.
Yep. Yeah, that's actually one of the protections for this area is that nobody has the stamina to fight there. Although the Indian Army and the Chinese Army are getting ready to lock horns on the Sanchen glacier, the largest glacier in the world that's not on the poles. And the Indian Army is sitting on it, and the Chinese want them to vacate. And well, it's,
Okay, enough.
yeah, no, it's
Digress.
really it's really interesting. But
Can we go
Digress.
Go ahead. How does she get, isn't the outhouse quite a ways, quite a walk from the house?
yeah, I don't think they actually use. I think that's for tourists.
Oh,
Yeah.
what does she
They didn't
do
aim me in
with
that
her?
direction. I went in the other direction.
Oh,
It's I don't know how many of you have ever used an Asian squat toilet. Okay, where aim is important. In a way, I didn't have to worry about that because she says, you know, if you want to go to the bathroom, you just kind of go around that way, and I have this 270-degree view of the Himalayas and a wall. Okay, so there's some things you really don't appreciate until you've kind of experienced the opposite. And it's not like camping. It's really different. So every once in a while, if I wanted to be a little more private, I would walk over and use the outhouse. But it really was a walk. And everywhere I go, the outhouse has the best view. I don't understand why they put the outhouse right there, but it had the best view of the mountains, the rivers, and everything. I guess they want to inspire you while you're working. Okay, so this is the central piece of what I'd like us to talk about. I would like to talk about with you. I was called to the cave. So all this is in the Nubra Valley. The Nubra Valley is the next valley over from Leh, the capital city. And to get there, you have to go over the highest motorable road in the world, 18,500 feet, same level as the Mount Everest base camp. And I walked, so there's like a gift shop up there that says, I was in Cardon La, you know. And you take pictures near the sign that says, I was near Cardon La. And so I got out of the vehicle, and this is a shared taxi. It's like a 10-seat taxi with 18 people crammed in it. And I got out, walked about 10 steps, and just passed out. It's just there. Even from 13,000, you could feel the difference. Like, I just got thinking, how do people live up here? Who thought this was a good idea? They actually have, and I thought about this when I was in this country, you can rent a Jeep and a bicycle, and they drive you to the top of Cardon La and give you the bicycle, and then you just coast down. Since I could, huh?
it's like Hawaii.
No, there's a lot more oxygen in Hawaii. I don't know how high they would let you, you know, I don't know how high it is in Hawaii.
Not that high.
But it's probably, 8,000 feet or something like that, which is probably half, a mere half, you know. I got up and I said, if I can't even stand up, can you imagine me on a bicycle? So I went back to Nubra Valley, back to the Doak River, and we went looking for a suitable cave for me to have a cave experience. The first cave we came to, I called it the Cathedral because it is so absolutely huge. This little dot down here gives you a perspective of what a human being would be to this. But when we actually went in and explored it, the floor is at a 45-degree angle. I mean, it's just straight up, and there was no place to it, and all the rocks were like bowling ball size or bigger, and they just didn't feel like a place that I wanted to put a sleeping bag down. So Stanzen says, I found the perfect cave for you. And we got to this one. And when I saw it, I said, that's really great. How are you going to get it down here? Because I can't get up there. And she said, oh, yes, it'll be easy. And so...
And you trust her by now?
Huh?
And you trusted her by now?
No, I knew not to argue with her by now. I had met her husband, okay, and this is true throughout the trans-Himalayan area. The women are just in charge. You don't argue with them, you know. She said that to me, and then he said that to me independently. It's like, you know, it's like when we were getting ready to go out to eat, I was saying to him, where do you want to go eat? And he said, well, Stanton will be here soon, and she'll tell us where we're going to go eat, you know. Another thing, and I've got this on videotape, and I haven't processed the videotape yet. Another thing she said, I was asking about her child, and I said, you know, do you want a boy or a girl? And she just said, Ladakhi women pray for daughters. And I'm like, that is so different from the rest of India, and actually the rest of the world. And she said, if a family can't afford to educate all of the children in the family, they educate the girls first. And I'm like, this is radically different. Also, another different thing is, I asked my friend Vasantha why he got ordained in this area, and he said they have a very yin form of Buddhism here. He said there are several lamas who are women. There's several lamas who are married. In fact, there's a married couple, man and woman, who are both lamas, okay? And they've got little monkettes. You know, I guess when you're young, you have to wear a saffron-colored diaper, you know. And I found this to be true, that this area is very, very yin. When I was in Nepal, I just see so many fathers and daughters together, and so many mothers and sons together, you know. So it's just a very cooled out existence. So this is the cave, and this is Stanzen, her friend, and my driver, and they were the ones that carried my supplies up. I just carried me up. So that was my water, my food, and that's the view from the vehicle. They climbed it like that, and it took me a little longer than that to get up there. And this was very a powerful moment for me, watching the vehicle drive away with the only 3 human beings in the world that knew where I was, and only one of them spoke English. So I said, come back for me in 3 days, and that's her waving goodbye. Being isolated, being away and alone. At that point, this is not the monastery caves. This is a fully different experience. I could spend hours just in talking about how the view changed over time, and how this is an old village, and the village is destroyed, and there's no information about how old the caves are. I actually was wondering whether it was you know what I mean, Bond cave, Bon cave, and was taken over by Buddhists. I don't know. So I'll go through these fast, although next week I'm not showing any slides, and we're going to go through this stuff slower. The gifts of the cave. So I was there for 3 days, and as soon as I got there and brought all that food up, I got this very strong hit that I am not supposed to be eating, that I'm supposed to fast the time that I'm there. And so all I had was water. The second night, I experienced a presence. And because of all of the other experiences I've had, I was prepared for this. I was prepared not to allow this to go through what would be a normal neural network of saying, oh, this is an angel, or a standing saying. She said she started to come back early and get me. She said when she drove away, she said, I don't know if I like this idea. So she started to come and get me early, and she said, I was afraid of ghosts. Did you see any ghosts? So the presence that I experienced could have been seen as a ghost. It could have been seen as ancestors. It could have been seen as anything. But because of the work that I've done, I knew not to take it through any of those neural networks. It was just simply a presence. Okay? This is late at night. And when I say night, the nearest electricity is 10 miles away. The stars were incredible. Stars were incredible. I mean, they were so bright they would cast a shadow. And this is before when the moon rose. This is 3 days after the full moon. Wow, that was amazing. So I'm in the cave, and I go to sleep, and I wake up, and in the darkest part of the cave, I see 2 glowing eyes. And I said, holy shit. Nobody else is supposed to be in this cave. And one level of fear stuff was there are wolves, snow leopards, lots of stuff that could have been, I could be interfering with somebody else's cave. They could be saying, excuse me, you know. But the eyes were at standing human height. And there was a form that was darker than the dark part of that cave, which was completely dark. And so then that's the second holy shit moment was something there. Now, I am starting to reach for my flashlight. This is the rational mind saying, I'm going to turn this into something that's rational. Okay. And then I realized, I said, wait a minute. This is what I'm here for. I came this whole distance for this. So now I need to accept and listen. And as long as my eyes were open, my rational mind kept trying to make rational sense out of this. So I laid on my back and closed my eyes. And the experience probably lasted a few hours. At some point in time, I actually turned this camera on. So this camera is the only digital device that I brought with me on the journey, on this part of the journey. Computers and all this other stuff got left. And I turned this on. It's still pitch black, but I was just talking into the camera. And I can guarantee you that that will not be a video that you're going to see, period. Maybe after I'm dead. It actually took me 2 weeks after being back here before I could play it for myself. And I'm having, the one thing that I'll share with you that I said is, this cave is alive and it's talking to me. And some of the things that it was saying, first of all, I was on the wrong track. Remember, I was talking about the sacred civilization of Zhangzong and what are the aspects of the sacred civilization. Wrong track. That anybody and everybody back then had these powers. They weren't part of a culture. They weren't part of a civilization. It was the way that people in that time operated. The second thing is that these latent powers can be activated. But the way they get activated is they cannot be activated by an individual mind. Everything we've been doing about parapsychology and studying telepathy and all these things have been focused on an individual. And that's not where it's at all. It's that when minds become coherent with each other, these minds can do that which an individual can't do and can't even comprehend. So as an individual, I simply can't comprehend the idea of using my mind to cut a stone and using my mind to float this 20-ton stone and using my mind to walk it over here and using my mind to sit it up straight for 12,000 years. I can't conceive of doing that. And I can't do that, but we can do that if we activate the collective mind. More on that next week. I also learned more about the life energy field, that there is an energy that life gives off. And by life, I'm not talking about beings that look like us, not just beings that look like us, and I'm not talking about beings that even look like they're alive. That cave was alive and was talking to me. Okay? Now, I had some, through my ayahuasca experiences, I had the experiences of a plant talking to me. It's kind of like, both my irreverent side and my humorous side during some of the ayahuasca experiences. Like, what do you know? You're just a plant. What you know is ancient beyond belief, but I'm a human being. I'm an American. So you get a group of people together. It does not activate this force that gives us the latent powers. The activation force is what I'm calling ordinary ecstasy. I'm purposely not using the word love. And the reason I'm not using the word love is that as soon as I say it, we take it through our normal neural networks as though this is something that belongs to an individual for another individual. When there aren't any individuals, okay? That there's something else that's here. And I'm getting all this lying on my back as a download, and I don't even have words for it, if that makes any sense. Ordinary ecstasy is the closest thing that I've got to it. And ordinary meaning it's just like eating our food or taking a deep breath or getting a glass of water or walking to your car. It's everything we do And if you're searing dolma, you recognize that everything you do is done in a state of grace. Now, she wouldn't know about, she probably doesn't know Buddhist dogma or doctrine. She probably doesn't know, what the Eightfold Path is or anything like that. But every breath she takes, she's living it. And then I received 2 books, which is really interesting. It's just kind of thung, and I got 2 books. You also saw The Matrix, where they needed to, get the how to fly a helicopter. Okay, now know how to fly a helicopter. So that's how the books came. The books are very interesting. They're not my style. If you've read any of my stuff, I have a style. These are different. One of them is nonfiction, and it is talking about all the stuff I got in the caves. And the other book is fiction. And the fictional book is a speculative fiction of what happens or what could happen 40 years from now if people actually read the first book.
Where did you get the books?
Huh?
Where did they come from?
The presence. There's just,
In the cave?
yes. Yeah. And so, if you are interested, I am the first couple of chapters of both of them. Like when I say I got it's like I know the book from the first page to the last page. I know how it ends, but I'm actually writing right now to try to try to get it into a form other than I know this. The first couple of chapters are readable right now, and if you're interested in reading them, raise your hand. And if you're not, okay, other way. Not if you don't have time to read it, it's okay. It's okay. I won't cry too much. If you'd rather not get it. Okay, so and the way it works, I'm going to send you a chapter. Once you've read it, you're going to send me an email back saying, got it, now I need the other chapter. And I'm going to send that to you. Then you're going to say, got it, now I need the other chapter. Because what this is doing is encouraging me to keep writing, okay? It also, there's a reason to the rhythm of the book, and you'll get this once you start reading the book.
So you're like your test audience.
I was going to say guinea pigs, but no, you're my early adopters here. Yes, you're right. Yes, yes. If y'all survive this, then it may be ready for others. And so one of the things that I got, and this feels so good, is what I'm supposed to do with all this stuff. That what common way will be catalyzing is what I don't have a name for it. There are no names for this stuff. But I'm calling it a coherent center. And this is where people will come together simply to start making the group mind. We have had experiences of the group mind. We've had these experiences. We call them religions. Okay? Religion has the technology of awakening a group field, but they do it for the purpose of that religion, not for the purpose of going out into somewhere else. And they do it from exclusivity. Like our field is different from and better than all those other people over there who are going to hell. Okay? You will experience something in this group field. That thing is what I call ordinary ecstasy. Okay? But religions say our ecstatic field is fundamentally different and fundamentally better than those heathens over there. Okay? What these coherent centers will do is have us practicing group mind and group coherence for the good of all, not just for the good of that particular religion or that particular group or whatever. More on that next week. Okay. How many times have I said that? Okay, so real quickly, what are the 5 latent powers? What are the things that will be awakened through the group mind? Number 1 is a collective telepathy and a collective knowing. That the Zhangzong cultures have all been in contact with each other, and the contact has never been broken. It can be forgotten, but it's not broken. And this is where, again, people have been studying telepathy for a long time, but in this culture they study it as individuals, as opposed to studying it as a group knowing. And John just gave me an interesting video clip of a woman who talks to animals. And you're nodding like you know about her. Okay. So in South Africa, yeah. So I'll get that to all of us. But when they also interview indigenous people from Africa who are just saying, yeah, of course we talk to animals. What do you talk to? From our perspective, she has a special gift. From their perspective, everybody can do that. It's like a lot of things. Okay, so the second is spatial powers. People in this region regularly report being able to teleport themselves instantly from one place to another. To be in 2 different places at the same time. 2 or 3 different places at the same time. To pick up a 20-ton stone and move it over there. I think this is what Jesus was alluding to when he was saying, if you have faith, you can say to a mountain, move, and the mountain will move. It's like, faith and an awareness of these powers, and activation of these powers that are latent. Temporal powers. People in this region regularly report being able to speed up time, being able to slow time down. Now, all of us have probably had that experience when we are in a state where I'm doing something creative, I'm having an experience of beauty, and all of a sudden, hours have gone by, and I've got a cramp in my back. I don't know. I'm squinting at the computer screen, but I've been doing something really, really creative, and time has just flown. And to be able to stop time altogether, haven't got that one yet. The 4th one is communication powers, being able to communicate with animals. I had an experience of that on the river, and I don't know if we're going to have time to talk about that or not. That it really, and I've had other experiences like this, none of them on purpose, and I'm looking forward, after seeing the video of the woman in South Africa, I'm looking forward to having a conscious experience of communicating, first of all, with my own species. That would be that would be helpful, and then some communication across species, and then the 5th one is bodily powers. They actually, scientists have been recording these monks, the Buddhist monks who can speed up or slow down their heart at will, stop their breathing for a long time, can sit in the middle of a snowbank and meditate and melt all the snow all around them, and other stuff. Now, people have talked about this stuff and they've looked at it as individuals, but we don't talk about what does this mean to us as a society if people have these powers. If we have a direct consciousness, we can direct our consciousness to to and through other beings, and not just treat them as though they have no consciousness. So I'll tell you one yak story. Okay, so on the way back from Hunderdok, it is all downhill. Okay, so Stanton would walk past me, and then she'd sit and she'd do her iPhone. Then I'd walk past her, and then I'd walk past her like half an hour. It takes her 10 minutes to catch up and pass me again. So we're doing kind of this tag team down back to the vehicle pickup spot. And so I turned a corner, and I'm looking at 4 or 5 zoo. Now, this is the cross between a yak and a cow. They are big. And they're on the path, and they're looking at me. And I could tell that they wanted something. But I'm actually talking to them. I don't know what you want, and you're in my way. or I'm in your way. You have horns. I don't. You outweigh me by 3 or 4 times. So we're sitting there. We're having this conversation, and Stanton comes up, and she says a word in Ladakhi and raises her hands like this, and all 4 of them wheel and turn and walk up the cliff and wait. Okay, they're just standing there waiting, and I'm like, that was slick. What did you say? And we walk by, and then they come down, and then they were just waiting, like who's going first here, and that led to me having my experience with the yaks, but that will wait till next week. So we're about to leave the cave area, and we're going to the Oracle of Sabud. I received, the last thing I received from the cave was an instruction, and the instruction was not to talk to anyone about the experience until I had consulted an oracle. Now, oracles are all over the place, and people regularly go there. I made friends with a bunch of the Buddhist monks that were at the meditation center, and they were, I said, what do you know about the about oracles? And they were like, well, it's not part of Buddhist doctrine. I said, but we all go. we all go there. So they directed me right to her house. So I couldn't find the video of her in her robes. It's all in the computer, but I've lost my organization since I don't have my office set up. And so when I first went to her, this is the most famous oracle in Ladakh, okay? And when I first went there, she's at her house washing clothes, and she looks around at us and does a double take at me. I don't, for most people, I think I'm the first African American they've ever seen. And she wouldn't read just one person. And so she said, wait until some others arrive, and you sit in my garden and eat apples. And I couldn't figure out whether this was an invitation or a command, like, to get you ready for this trip, you have to eat my apples, So.
That's true before.
Oh yeah, right. Exactly. Right.
I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear what you said.
I've heard that story before, eat the
Oh.
apple.
Right, yeah.
Oh.
Right. So,
Can't lose.
actually, I let somebody else eat the first apple, so they were still standing. It didn't turn into anything. And so, a very involved process. I actually watched her putting her gear on and transform from cute little grandmother into the Oracle of Cebu. And Stanton's husband was with me. And we had to be doubly translated because when she is the Oracle of Cebu, she doesn't speak Ladakhi. She speaks a language that's similar to Ladakhi, so he could understand a lot of the words, but couldn't understand all of them. And so her daughter was there and could translate into Ladakhi, and then he translated it back into English. So this is kind of multiple renditions here. But I had a couple of questions for her, and one of the questions was, is a question I left America with, which was, where am I supposed to be located? I can be based anywhere that has a decent size airport and internet access. And so, and over time, I found it difficult to be here. You know, I feel at times like I'm shouting into an empty stadium, you know, or with a few seats occupied in the stadium. And she was quite firm. She said, you should be in America, this is your place, and this is where you will be most effective. She also said that everything that I had received in the caves, and this direction of creating these coherent centers and the books, etc., she says, all that will be successful. But she said, you need assistance. You can't do this by yourself. And there's a part of me saying, duh, I know that. I've known that for 25 years. I haven't been wanting to do this by myself, and I wind up here by myself, you know. And just like when we started out saying that I may have to take the Common Way website down because it looks like it may be hacked, I don't know how to do that. I will have to take it down by myself. Unless somebody here knows HTML and they've been holding out on me. Hands? Okay. This tape is going on to my website, and if anybody who's listening to this, if you can volunteer some time, if you know to take, I'm going to say create a website. Just help me destroy this one. And so, but I got the confirmation that I needed in order to move forward, in order to start talking about this stuff. And that's it. A lot more happened than that, but that's the overview. We have exactly 3 minutes for questions. Maybe Sharon and Art will allow us to buy a little bit more time.
Your price doubles.
Huh? Oh, the price doubles. Okay. I'll handle that. You know, let's see, 0 times what? So, your thoughts. I felt very full coming off of that, out of those caves. Coming out of the caves. I hadn't eaten for 3 days. Both very weak and very disoriented from all that I had experienced. Stanton was coming for me at when she finished her school. She's a school teacher, and bringing the vehicle. And so I had to come out of the caves, and because I had had the experience already of moving past my limits, when you walk to the edge of what I call my porch, my front porch, the area that you could walk on. It was a drop. It was like, it felt like I was going to walk off the cliff. Now, I had watched them going down. They were just hopping from stone to stone, you know. I wasn't doing any hopping, you know. So this is the part where if I had pride about this, I wouldn't tell you about this part. But I sat down, so I packed my bag, and Stanton told me, like I had her sleeping bag. She said, throw the food that you don't eat over the side, and throw the sleeping bag over the side. And so when I threw the sleeping bag over the side, it bounced. It went bouncing down the hill all the way to the parking area where you saw the vehicle. And so I'm like yelling at it, yay, go, go, go. And then I remembered, I said, that's going to be me if I misstep. Different kind of yelling. Okay. And so I sat down and just scooted myself toward over the edge and down about 100 feet on my butt. Okay. And the whole, what they call the path, that I just saw as a bunch of gravel, started moving. Okay, so I'm slipping off of this cliff. And so I had my walking sticks with me this time. And so I jammed them into the ground. And everything starts moving over the cliff. I'm heading right to the edge. And I'm saying, okay, I got my sticks jammed in. There's nothing else I can do. You know, there may be, like, you know, mountain survival stuff that you're supposed to lie down flat or you're supposed to cry for mommy or whatever, but I didn't have any of that. So the gravel stopped moving when I'm about maybe 5 feet from the edge, okay? And I'm supposed to go this way now. But there's nothing to give me any traction going this way, okay? And so, yeah, that was really, really, really deeply interesting. It was a very interesting. Is this, I guess, kept coming back to that. So then you get down to the point. After about 100 feet of drop, you get to the point where you can actually stand. I can stand up and walk the other 100 feet or so. And I'm walking down, and I get to the place where the car will come, where the car left from. So you saw that on the video. And I passed out. And it's just like, yeah. And so I came to after about 5 minutes. I said, you know something, it's just really good. I can just lie here for a while. So I stretched out a blanket and propped up my pole so that they could see that it was actually me down there and not run over me. And stayed out for a while, you know, from hunger, from exhaustion. And I said, I was so happy to pass out then and not as I'm sitting here with my poles riding this gravel path to oblivion. So yeah, so it was. I talked to a woman just yesterday whom I used to date, and she said, congratulations on your journey. And she said, I remember the person that you were 20 years ago who had to eat at the same restaurant every day because you couldn't have, and order the same thing because you couldn't have new experiences. And that person, when she reminded me of who I was, it's like, that's, everything. Coming face to face with the axe on the path, you know, sliding off the cliff, getting to the point in Hunderdok where you can't move forward, and I still move forward. All that was not the old Sharif, and he wouldn't have lasted out of the airport. He wouldn't have gotten in the airplane. Okay, yeah, it was a very, 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 very different reality. So, yes.
Did you have a watch with you? I mean, where's the key?
Yes, I had a watch with me. Yes, it was digital, and no, I didn't take it. I didn't leave it. I very consciously thought about it because I needed to make sure I needed to make sure how many days had gone by, and I need to be ready to vacate the premises when Stanton came.
That's what I was wondering how you did that.
Yeah, yeah. She was late anyway. But yeah, I knew what time, I knew how long, when she was supposed to be there. And I knew that if I could have waved to her from the top, and she and the driver could have come up and gotten me, okay? But I was really proud that I actually did that by myself. So, other questions, comments, thoughts, opinions? Yeah.
Just one minor thing. The presence experience, was that your first night in the cave?
Second.
Second?
Yeah.
So you had one more night?
No, it was 3 days but 2 nights.
3 days and 2 nights.
Right. And I was really clear at the end of the download that was all I needed. Now there may be a refresher download some other point in time. I may go back to those caves at some point in time in my life. When I told the monks about the caves and showed them pictures, they said, wow, we're going to go there and we're going to take them over, and next time you come, we're going to charge you rent. I said, fine, as long as you install the escalator, I'm cool with that. But yeah, I felt very complete, and I spent an awful lot of time in that cave crying, and no sadness, but just a sense of awe, a sense of. I spent my first hour in the cave, in the temple area of the cave, cleaning it. And this is by the first time it's been cleaned in hundreds of years, and I actually have video of other caves further down, and Stanton said no one's been in those caves for hundreds of years because you can't get them. The river changed its course and washed away the approach to it. And so I was able to use the telephoto lens of my camera to look into these caves. This is the first time anybody's looked in the caves, and that was really cool, But yes, I could tell that people had been in these. I could tell people had been in these caves because of the graffiti on the walls. So instead of leaving graffiti, Sharif was here, I cleaned them and rededicated them to Tara, the goddess Tara. And don't know quite why I did that. When I picked up my prayer flags, these were all Tara prayer flags. And I could have picked up some other ones. The Tara flags were here, the other ones were here. Like, oh, I'll take these. And so you'll remember that the donors to the campaign, the Journey funding, I was flying prayer flags for them, so I had to have 100 prayer flags. And let's see if I can find real quick an image of the prayer flags here. I had to go out to the point of the porch where there's a pole erected and tie off one end of the prayer flag there and then take it back to the cave. And so I am on my knees, and the pole is here, and it's 300 feet straight down there, and I'm trying to just look at the tip of the pole. okay, and the breeze is blowing. It's like, I'm going to blow the sun. Take it easy, Sharif. You weigh a lot. So, oh, speaking of which, I lost 15 pounds. Lost 20 pounds in Ladakh. I've gained about 5 of that back, so I've lost about 15 pounds. There's a search and rescue team in Ladakh right now looking for it, but there's not a lot of hope for it now. Now that the winter's come, yeah, I'm trying. This is after I came down and took the photo back of the prayer flag. So this is the stick that was there, and took a bit for me to try to secure them. I didn't have any equipment I didn't carry with me. And this is the temple room, and this is an auxiliary room. And so, any other questions or thoughts or comments or, yeah.
How is it holding on to that sense and feeling and your connection to things being back in Portland, how you're holding on to that?
That's a really good question. Repeat it for the device. How am I holding on to the sense that I got there? It's very interesting and difficult. I find myself getting caught up in Portland again. Traffic jams. And we had a yak jam. And it was yak rush hour. And it's been helpful for me to actually go back and look at processing these videos. It's just been really, just like, I was there. It's like I have to keep reminding myself, like, I actually was there. This is this is like where I was sliding over the side, and this is where you can actually walk. Now there's these other caves here. I couldn't even figure out how you get to them. You can see they actually have doors and windows and things like that. Then there's another cave here.
It looks like teeth and a nose and an eye.
Yes, indeed, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it was quite something. I just turn this way and I'm there, and I can turn back here. I remember I'm here. One of the reasons I know I'm here is that I can breathe. Yeah.
The video that you made of being in the cave.
Yeah, and for those who have access to that,
It's on your Facebook page.
it is. That shows what I know. Yeah, I would recommend that. This is actually a piece. This was a part of the carving that was around the altar face in the temple room, and this is the only intact piece of it. And there's something about this. I'm thinking that this temple could have been a Bon temple before it was a Buddhist temple. And I'm finding someone who knows something about Buddhist art or the art of the Trans-Himalayan region to see if this rings a bell, like, oh yes, that comes from such and such a culture. So, John, you had a...
Yeah, the picture before that,
I don't know.
it was the face, the picture
Okay,
of the face,
right.
of the rock face.
Mhm.
So there are these lines, straight lines going
Right.
up and down, 10 yards apart, or
Right.
however many yards apart.
Right.
Are those just striations in the rock, or was this some big John Henry that had
Right.
excavated that rock face? So it looks
It's first of all natural. okay? But it's also an enhanced natural. Let's see, what's the best one here? Okay, that's actually really good, because you can see this part here is not natural. Okay, the monks
Right.
over time built that up. So this is the part that I call the porch, okay? This is not natural. This is rooms 4 and 5, which are not accessible because the pathway collapsed, okay? But this division right here, when you're looking at it from the inside,
Which one were you in?
I lived in this one, in the temple room. I was in this one, and from this one, there's a hole on the inside, and you can look over into rooms 4 and 5, but you can't get there. I'm sorry, I can't get there. The Ladakis could get there. Actually, the Ladakis couldn't get into 5 at all. It was just too far a reach.
Oh, those aren't the lines I'm talking
Okay.
about. So,
Oh, I thought you meant these here.
no,
Well,
no,
yeah, but
the
the
big-
line that was
bigger.
over on the side.
Well,
Okay.
sort
Hang
of
on, hang on.
there, but if you can get,
I can, this one, oops.
You're talking about like.
Oh,
the one
I'm
coming
sorry,
down
that's showing
the
a
hall
movie.
on-
Hang on, I got a movie here,
yeah,
that
okay,
just
so
came
that
up.
line, that's the line right there, that,
Hang on. Okay, so,
far right, all the way to the, no,
nope, let's see if it, hang on. Shoot, that was too quick.
okay, stop.
Hang on. I'll do this again.
There,
Okay,
okay, so,
far right,
well, that's one of them,
The
but there's
vertical
one,
line.
yeah, the vertical line that goes clear up to the top of the,
right from here to
well,
here.
there's one, and then
And
right
there's
in the
one to the
middle,
right.
yeah, there's one there.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's smoke. That's, smoke discoloration.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So these are like chimneys, and so you can see where, like this was a fire room. I had a fire in there, and so that makes those marks there.
okay, but there's some down below too.
I don't know about those. I don't know anything about those. But you can see this is an active rock face. I mean, this is layered something,
Yeah.
you know. If I back up, will it show it
Yeah,
better? Okay, boom, boom.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so you can see.
Right,
there's
I
paint.
see now. This here,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
here, this here. I don't know.
You know, it's like some big drag line just went in there with big teeth and scraped the edge of the cliff off.
Well, it
Hopefully
reminds-
not while I was there.
Well, it
Yeah.
reminds me if there's a pattern of hard and soft rock.
Well, that,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
and
That's what it
that's,
looks like
yeah,
to me, but I
yeah.
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
It's just
interesting.
I didn't see it early, so.
Yeah.
This whole area used to be at the bottom of an ocean.
You're raising a sore point, because there are places I could see seashells, and I didn't pick them up.
Yeah.
I just kind of,
Well,
I had, like, am I going to follow this cliff on my mind, as opposed to, oh my God, that is a
Right.
seashell.
Well, you know, like this Himalayan salt that's so popular these days.
Yeah.
Well, it's sea salt, right?
That's right.
From the Himalayas, because they used to be ocean bottom
That's right.
before India collided with Asia,
Yeah.
and everything got turned sideways and all that kind of stuff. So this is probably layers sedimentary rock.
Sedimentation, it
Yeah.
used to be,
It used to be
90
that, and it's been turned 90
Yeah.
degrees.
Yeah. One of the things that you could see on that place where Stanzen was sitting and waving is just how active this area is. I mean, there's just this fissure on this rock, and it's going to fall into the river. At any moment, it's going to fall into the river. It's waiting. It could be another 10,000 years, or it could be tomorrow. You know. I also have these other images where the mountain didn't sit all the way up. It's like at a 45-degree angle, so it looks like teeth at the top. Really, really cool stuff. So, like I said, this is, in a way, this is amazingly beautiful, but you can see that it doesn't have a whole lot of life as we know it. Okay, it doesn't have, it's not green, there's not stuff moving around, etc. But that is alive. It is very, very alive.
So does that qualify for one of the kinds of life that is accessible for the collective mind?
Absolutely.
So
Yes.
we're not talking just people.
That's right. We're not talking about people. We're not talking about just the cute animals. Like people, will fly thousands of miles to bond with dolphins. Okay.
But I mean,
What about the possums?
when you're talking about remembering the latent powers, and that it takes a collective mind to do that,
Mhm.
are those minds, the mind in that cave qualify as one of those minds?
Yes. Yeah.
I
Yes.
would agree too. I'm really looking forward, Stephen Berger was here.
Who?
Stephen Berger.
Okay.
He's got a really amazing technology. He's adapted from HeartMath,
Okay.
and he did a lot of biological science showing how this actually works in the body. He's a plant medicine person. That's his stuff. But he's been studying bacteria and viruses and its relationship and how our body responds. So it's very coming from a very ecological and dynamic place where each is a bacteria or live in intelligence, a virus or live in intelligence. And his book is coming out in April, talking about Gaia Mind.
Okay.
So I'm just saying here, it's like a book that's that his work is talking about how we start to really develop and respect and honor for the other intelligence of the planet, because thinking we're the only intelligence really.
I think we're the only intelligent. I'm not sure we even exhibit that much.
Yeah.
So, do you have a link for that? For his work?
Stephen Ritter,
Mhm.
I can send it to you.
Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll send it to all of us. Thank you. Okay. Well,
Thank you.
thank you. And this is fun. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel, we will do the next part of this, which is, what does all this mean? What does it mean for society as a whole? What does it mean for Commonway, my organization? What does it mean for you, for us moving forward in the world? We'll see. That will be, I think, more of an interactive discussion, and I'll be able to share with you some of my marching orders. And it's really comforting having marching orders. It's kind of like I talked about these coherence centers already, and one of the things that came through was, don't do it by yourself. You have to open 3 to 5 of them around the world. You can't just do one for you. I was going to get to people in Portland and start doing. It's like no. You've got to think globally and start doing this in a bigger way. So, thank you. Is there anyone who can't make it next week or chooses not to or whatever? And I've had a bunch of people who said that they could not make this one, but they can make next week. So there'll be different people here. And you better listen to this tape, by the way. So we're not going to go over old grounds. So thank you, and thank you for opening the doors this time and for next week also. And my camera's been blinking at me. I don't think I'm going to get a video out of this, but I've got all of this on the audio recording device, and I'll try to get that out to you in the next couple of days or so.
Are you sending us the chapters before next meeting, or is that the next?
You'll get that as soon as I can get it out to you. And if you don't get it in the next 2 or 3 days, say Sharif, get your fecal matter together. Thank you,
Or
thank you.
not.
Yes, or not, right.